I'm a YouTuber, and I record countless hours of scary videos. I'm not afraid of anything. Anyways, grab a blanket, turn over! Ah! My creepy true story. Late night creeper is what I like to call it. This really happened to me over the past summer, August 2016. I'm a 29-year-old male. I was up late one night, editing videos for my YouTube channel, and I passed out on the couch. Nothing new there. It was about 2:30 a.m. in the morning, and I heard someone walking up onto our front porch. Backstory: I live around the corner from the college student housing, so it's not too uncommon to have them stumble around on our porch at night. Anyways, I heard someone on our front porch and just blew it off as a drunk college kid. It was a Friday night after all, so I turned back over and go back to sleep. I was too lazy at the time to go up to my room, and my wife was passed out, and I didn't want to disturb her as she had to be up early for church events on Saturday mornings. So around 3:15 a.m., I heard a loud knocking on the side of the house, and at this point, I knew something was off. But I didn't know how far off at this point. So I got up off the couch and very quietly walked to the part of the house that I heard the knocking on. Our house is an old house. It was built back in 1895, so it's not too hard to hear someone outside the house. As I got closer, the knocking got louder and more violent on the wall, and I started to get a bit scared. I kept telling myself, it's probably just people messing with me, but I kept going on. When I got to the window, I looked through the blinds to find someone in a gray hooded sweater, blue jeans, and military-looking boots crouched down knocking on the house. They didn't see me at first, but then I knocked on the glass, yelling, "What the heck are you doing? Get out my yard before I call the cops." This person got up quickly and ran off down the street. At this point, I figured it was a kid trying to mess with me, and I just kinda blew it off. I go back to finishing my video, and by this point, it's around 3:45 a.m. in the morning. And sure enough, I hear the knocking on the house again from the same place. So this time, I get up and run to that part of the house, ready to beat someone up. But when I got there, the knocking started on the opposite side of the house. After about 30 seconds, the knocking stopped. And then about a minute later, I heard footsteps on the porch and knocking on the glass. At this point, what little bravery I had left, I slowly looked around the corner from the room I was in to face the front window. And sure enough, there was someone looking into the window, hands cupped around their eyes to eliminate any glare there might be, with a huge grin and eyes that screamed, "I'm crazy." At this point, I run back into our kitchen and grabbed the phone to call the cops, and I did so. I told the dispatcher that there was a guy on my porch knocking on windows and really just being creepy and menacing. Dispatcher said it would be about 10 minutes until a unit would arrive. After hanging up the phone, I look back into the front room, and the guy is gone. Well, so I thought. About a minute later, I hear running through our side yard. Our side yard is full of tall trees, leaves, and sticks, so it's very loud even just walking through it. I quickly run up to my wife and tell her someone is messing around the house and is knocking on windows. And she said, "I know. I heard knocking around 2 a.m. and I hear leaves and sticks breaking." I told her to stay in bed and to shut the door, and that I would call her when all is clear. So I go back down to see if I can figure out where this person is. And as I make my way back to the front room, there they are again. But at the other window looking in with the same grin and creepy eyes. but this time, he has a knife in his hand. I am literally almost pissing my pants at this point because he is tapping on the window with the point of the knife. For a good minute, we just lock eyes and just look at each other. I can honestly say I'm pretty sure he could smell my fear, let alone see it in my eyes. After a minute, he says, "Just open the door. It'll be over soon. I promise." Now at this point, I'm crapping my pants, and for about 30 seconds or so, his grin turns into a full creepy smile. Large yellow crooked teeth, a few missing from the sides, and a couple in the front. The best thing to ever come of this night was the faint sound of the police car pulling up to my house. The guy saw the car and took off running down the side yard and hopped the fence into a neighbor's yard. I ran out and told the cop what happened and where he had gone to. They searched the area for a while and came up with nothing. And to this day, they never called me back or heard anything of this guy ever again. Figments of my imagination. Hey Horror Studio 1, HS1, whatever you'd like to be called. My name is Kay, and I am an amateur YouTuber. I've been watching your videos for a while now, and before I start my story, I want to thank you for all the effort you put into your videos. Many times, they help me and my son fall asleep at nighttime, so I want to first thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're awesome at what you do. Please don't use my real name in the video. Thanks. Now, I do have my own YouTube channel, though it is quite small of a YouTube channel, especially when compared to yours. I mostly do urban exploring videos, from abandoned houses to farms to desolate places in the forest area. This story I wanted to share with you because I know you mostly do true scary stories. This is an experience I had while on my way to film one of my Urban X YouTube videos. It was a Saturday night, and I just put my son to bed, which I always usually do before venturing out to film my videos. That night, there was a little soft rain and even a hint of thunder. Thinking it would be a good atmosphere for this particular video, I decided to venture out to an abandoned elementary school, which was well known to be haunted in the area. Now, although the videos I do are not at all paranormal or ghost-related in nature, you can probably guess that I have an interest in the paranormal from my time spent on your and other YouTube channels in the horror genre. Just a little background information on myself before I start the core of my story. You see, I am a single father and have recently hit a rough patch. I guess YouTube for me has been my way of connecting back with the world and gaining some well-needed self-confidence. Anyways, back to the story. It was around 11:30 at night by the time I arrived at the abandoned elementary school. This school itself had been abandoned for quite a while though. I'm not sure how long, however. Usually I would go with a friend of mine called F, who also had an interest in doing these things. But that night, he had some kind of party he had to go to, and having to make this video in on time for my YouTube channel, I decided I would go alone. I had done this 2 times before on my own, and neither times had anything happened. As I walked into the desolate abandoned building, the thoughts of the ghost stories that circulated about the place was at the forefront of my mind. If anything in there was going to scare me tonight, I was certain that it would be a ghost. There seemed to be nothing other than that, right? I had 2 previous encounters in the past with the ghosts or paranormal things, but of course, neither times was I able to confirm if what I've experienced was really ghostly activity or just figments of my overactive imagination. Especially since I was so addicted to the videos on YouTube with all the paranormal ghost stories. Anyways, the story of the abandoned school itself is as follows. It was said that, years before, there was an old janitor who worked at the elementary school. The man's name was Joe. Joe worked for the school for a very long time, over a span of 20-odd years. It wasn't until one day during recess, a teacher had caught Joe peeping in the girls' bathroom, and of course Joe was fired from the school. Rumor has it that Joe passed away soon after that, and ever since then, the girls' washroom on the second floor was rumored to be haunted by the spirit of Joe, the peeping ghost. The urban legend itself lasted until the school's eventual closing down years ago. I'm not sure how much of the story is true or how much of it is fake, but it gave me enough incentive to actually go into this school. Now back to the story. As I was trudging towards the school, I finally was able to climb over the barrier fencing off the school. It's a boring process and honestly not relevant to the story. I was able to find a broken window in the side face of the school, the one near the children's playground, or the kindergarten's playground. It was weird to me how little precaution the construction and/or government people had when it came to the protection of this abandoned school. I mean, the fence was the only thing keeping people out of the place. But yet again, what is there to find in an old abandoned school, rumored to be haunted by the soul of a dead janitor, right? At that moment, I guess I was just overthinking the whole thing. Maybe it was the rain, maybe it was the fact that I was alone, maybe it was your videos. I mean, this wasn't the first place that I had easily penetrated. I had done so in the past as well. It didn't occur to me that, at the time, it might have been a sign that maybe the school itself was already inhabited. I wished I thought of that. As I walked through the desolate classroom, with random items and singular chairs spread across the floor, I turned my headlight on and readied my video camera. The rain at that instance splashing droplets into the darkness of the room. As I began to roam the first hall, I realized at that moment that I was not alone here. Shining my flashlight along the floor, I saw newspapers filled with feces, old feces from my projection, feces that had existed for at least 2 or 3 weeks at the very least. Should I keep going? Should I just leave and come back next time with a friend instead? Should I never come back at all? But I had to complete my video. This video means so much to me. This YouTube channel means so much to me. And this moment was mine to do so. I filmed the artifacts on the floor and began talking into my camera, trying to establish some sort of narrative. It was at that moment when I heard a loud bang down the hallway. It sounded like something heavy, slamming very hard into something else, something with weight, something with substance. Joe? Being on camera and a horror fanatic, it was at this moment I decided to conduct one of the most cliché horror movie actions known to modern society, and basically the sole audible words spoken in my short Urban X video of the school. I called out, "Hello! Is anyone there?" It was a mistake, because there was nothing but silence. Absolute pitch silence. My action did not provoke the dramatic quality and climactic moment I had prepared for this YouTube video. But at that very moment, I decided I would work to create my own ending for the film. I left the building. Whatever had made the sound that night was not a result of the building's old architecture or decaying infrastructure. That which made the sound had substance and had movement to it. Whether it was a spirit that night or something else, I don't know. I like to believe that it was Joe that I had encountered. But something about the movement of the sound and the closed broken window that makes me think that my flashlight and other equipment sounds had somehow alerted a trespasser who decided to flight at my approach. Anyways, I never did upload that video. I mean, it probably would have gotten a lot more views than my other ones because I actually caught something. But it was a little bit too personal for me to release it. I don't know. Maybe if you are interested, I can send it to you and maybe you can share it on your own channel. And the encounters was much less interesting than I would have liked to believe it. But another reason why I don't believe it was a ghost was because in my pool of paranormal knowledge, if there's one thing I know, is that ghosts don't shit. The girl in the game. So this happened many years ago. I love to play video games. Gaming for me, believe it or not, was a way of social interaction with the outside world. As I've had anxiety all of my life, leaving my house at all has been very hard. When I was around 14 years old, bullying at school got so hard that I had to transfer to be homeschooled instead. It was mostly due to my bad personality, I guess. Anyways, I was trying to make my first video for YouTube, playing a game of Call of Duty, while trying to provide interesting commentary while playing with a group of randoms. Most of the people in the group were nice, or were socially awkward nerds like me at the time, except for this one girl, Jane. Jane, not her real name, started making fun of me, calling me names like faggot and loser for no reason at all. I think it was all due to my habit at the time of talking with a weird stutter, especially when I was faced with a group of many other people. After much harassing from Jane, plans to actually make the video from the gameplay that day was, well, abandoned. Since it would just be like 50 minutes of me getting berated and blamed and bullied by this one girl. Eventually, I had had enough and left the game, once and for all, preparing myself to go to sleep. It was 3 a.m. in the morning. The next day, I received an email from someone I didn't know. Inside the email had my full name, address, birthday, and even a random picture of me that my mom took a while back. And guess who sent it? Jane? I don't know how she was able to get that picture and all the information that she had, and why she wanted to fuck with me like that. But to Jane, the 19-year-old girl on Call of Duty so many years ago, let's not meet.